Well, hey Gundam Maniacs, welcome to another episode of Gundam Explained. In this episode, we're going to be looking at the AEUG version of the Robot Spirits Mark II. I did a review recently of the Titans version, so we're going to do something a little different here. We're going to do a comparison of all the other Mark IIs I have. All right, and here we go. To get started, a cool look at the Mark II, now fully decked out. Again, this is the Robot Spirits Ver Anime, as I have another couple, actually, different Robot Spirits versions we'll look at here in a second. But just the cool thing about this is just how much you can gear it up. Just like the last one we saw, it came with these awesome thruster effect parts that you could put on here. And just, you know, having the gun attached on the side there, having the extra rocket launcher ammo there, I guess rockets. Holding the rocket launcher, shield. It's got that Vulcan turret head mounted gun thingy there. Beam sabers. You know, this is one of my favorite mobile suit designs for a lot of reasons. But as an action figure, it works just as well. So here it is in comparison with the Titans version that I did a review on. So if you want to check that out, that review, that should be on the channel here. And what's cool about this is, you know, like it is in the anime, it does have the number on the side and you can change that out if you buy multiples. But there was something I might have not noticed from the previous review I did when I reviewed this. That is how far the arm articulation actually goes. So for instance, on here, I didn't really realize that there's this additional part that comes out. I actually had to work on that to get that out, but you work that out and look how far back this goes. It's like completely unnecessary for a mobile suit to do that. But I think what helps is because this is for anime, you can pull off those anime poses. And so yeah, again, I mean, you can go all out with these poses because of that extra arm articulation, which is really cool and something you wouldn't necessarily see in a Gunpla. I think that's another edge now we can further see with the Robot Spirits over a Gunpla is how intricate the articulation can be to get just extra data points. I don't even think there is an action figure, Mayfex, SH Figure Arts, you know, those high-end ones that do any articulation like this. And again, while it might not need it in terms of what a character can do, sometimes, especially when it comes to comic book representation, manga, animation, sometimes you can get really exaggerated, which would look cool. I mean, just being able to pull off a pose that maybe wouldn't be natural to do now can be because you can move the shoulder out so far. But yeah, it can look goofy with the articulation in the arms like that. But hey, I mean, this is still really awesome. Okay, interesting turn of events. As I was taking this apart to get it in standard form, a piece just kind of fell out on the ground and it was this. And I'm like, where does this go? And it's actually back here for some more storage that this thing has, which is pretty awesome. Although I actually didn't mess with it initially, but that did come off. And to show some other effect parts it comes with, it's really cool to get these. You can never have enough of these for some rocket attacks. Although I recommend using a stand with this just because it is constantly going to fall if you're trying to pose the figure with it. We get the standard beam saber stuff. Yeah, I haven't even opened it yet because I have so many in a box. I should just do a video on that. But yeah, it comes with laser bolt, if that's a beam blast, whatever, with the little effect part, and then the beam saber blades and that little animated one that's curved, which is nice. That goes along with the Ver anime style and look. And then lastly, another effect part here, just for some more effects. I probably already have a couple of these, but you can never have so much. I mean, one day, and actually my 08th MS team setup is pretty close. I'll have to show it off, but I just have like all these effect parts in play, just showing off a scene. It's pretty fun. Okay, let's start going through comparisons, shall we? This is what we're just looking at, the AEUG version of the Mark II. Looks fantastic. Ver anime, so straight from Zeta. But let's see some other variants. Here is the original Robot Spirits version, which I gotta say, I really do like it. At first, I actually didn't. I thought for some reason it seemed too super robot-y. I don't know what to say. It's very slim. It doesn't have the boxy nature we're used to from Okinawa's designs, or you know, in Gundam in general. This is more of streamlined, but you know what? I still like it. I still think this is really good. In fact, I appreciate it more after coming off of this. We have the very anime yellow on here. This takes a more orangey approach, which I really prefer. And I think if we were to, and let's see if I can zoom in more. That's okay, I guess. If we were to look at the eyes here on the head, it's very interesting how much bigger this head is, how much smaller this is. This overall has a more grounded look, and I think then that's cool that we had those options, something a little more grounded, but then something closer to the anime. Here is another one. Now, I forgot what it's like. I think this is Fixed Figuration, Gundam Fixed Figuration. This came out, I think, around the time of the movie trilogy came out, and it was like a special edition that came with the Hyakushiki, and I think a Zeta, the Zeta, and it transforms. It's horrible. But this is very interesting because it all has kind of a metallic sheen to it, and you can kind of see it in the blue on the camera here. But the plastic is completely different. It's a different type of plastic than I normally feel, and I feel like it deteriorates. In fact, the Zeta version that I have that came with the set, it's all like bended and folded in, I guess because it does transformations. But what I really like about it is the real type markings, how it has AEUG on here, and it has just some of the other types of markings that you would see, you know, with like a real grade, for instance. You know, using the water slides. And it looks like, you know, they even did some basic panel lining, you know, not too much, just enough. Yeah, I really like the look of this right here. When there's the big letters that kind of go across parts, looks really good. And again, this has more of the orangey look than the yellow, and I do prefer this kind of orange look. You know, this is a cool figure. I like to keep it around. The articulation is almost there. It's more of the articulation's there for the purpose of engineering because a lot of it is blocked by other pieces. You know, even the gun on this Fixed Figuration looks nice. It has real type markings, different color shading going on. Yeah, look at the metallicness on the back here. And I guess some sticky tack because the shield does not stay in. Yeah, this is a cool looking one. I'd almost say it looks better than the Vert anime, but the Vert anime is a lot more fun to handle, to deal with, to play with. Yeah, I'll say it. All right, next up, and I think this had been my favorite for the longest time. This is the version Katoki Robot Spirits. This is one that I bought that came with the G Defensor add-on, and I took that off for showing this off. I still have the connector on there for it, but this thing is incredible on its own. Just the markings all over it, the real type markings. They're in different places than we've seen before, but this even follows more of that real grade look. And I just like how it has some of the metallic in the sensors there. The articulation on this is really well done. Yeah, you can see it's crazy. Yeah, almost just as crazy as the Vert anime. You know, shout out to them at the time of releasing this. You know, the version Gatokis of Robot Spirits are always awesome. They just seem a little bit more fragile, and they sort of have this matte finish that can make it seem like it's easy to chip the paint, so I try to be careful. But again, I like how it's more of a orangey yellow than the bright yellow that we have on here. Again, real type markings. Let's compare it actually to the other one. Interesting how, yeah, this has more of a gray tone to it, which I think works to be a little more realistic. Yeah, I don't have that extra Vulcan cannon head attachment on this one, and maybe I do somewhere and I just lost it, but yeah, it's on this one. Looks great. It actually doesn't have the red on the side that we've seen on other versions. We'll see here shortly. But yeah, it's interesting to see the real type markings, how they have some similar real type markings, but they even have them in different places. The one on the left is version Katoki, has those little black random lines and marks that are on real grades, but we still see it has the AEUG on the shoulder, just different sides. And what's cool about having, I guess, multiples is I just like to have an army of these things. You know, how many were there? Were there 3? Were there 4? And how many were like AEUG painted? I guess it doesn't matter. I need to get more Hyzax. All right, so here's all of the action figures. Let me know below if there's any I'm missing, but also let me know from these, what do you think is the coolest? You know what? I am torn between 2. I'll let you try to guess, and then I'll let you know. It's actually going to be these 2. The original Robot Spirits. I really like the proportions on this. I really like how it looks. The slim look is pretty neat. It reminds me of some of the Ground Gundam early designs that they were doing before, like the more boxier look that we saw in 08 MS Team. I think some of the early episodes or even the intro showed a more slimline design. The version Gatoki I just like too. It does have good proportions. I mean, it is a little bigger and larger, but I really like the real type markings on here. That gray look to it. You know, these are more realistic. I prefer these. But I don't want to knock this because, again, this is for anime. I do like things that are anime accurate because that's how I've sort of learned about them or see them portrayed a lot. All right, but we did a comparison with other action figures. What about Gunpla? Well, here is the real grade, which is fantastic. This is one of the most fun builds I've ever had. I love the real grades. This one especially, it really does seem like I am putting together or assembling a robot. Just the placement of the decals everywhere. You can see that there's a lot with this that I said is related to that version Kotoki. I wonder how much, Kotoki does kind of inform the designs of the real grade, since Kotoki designs are almost sort of going to that real world perspective, but at the same time, real grades are going kind of with that angle and they kind of pull it off. So, these are very similar in a lot of ways. Okay, that's the real grade. We also have a high grade, but you know what? I don't have a high grade AEUG version. I just have a high grade Titans version because I have enough of the AEUGs and I just needed a Titans one. In fact, I think I bought my dad the AEUG version to build when I was trying to get him into the hobby. He doesn't know what Gundam is. So I think the real grade looks cool. I mean, it's nothing special. I think there is a lot going on that kind of evokes the anime version, just except for the head. I feel like there's a standard sort of Gundam head used like with hazels and all that are very the same. In fact, there's a lot here that I think is reused that's done with the hazels in general for good reason. That's where this came from. All right, but it doesn't end there. We also have this chonker. I guess I got to change the camera. Got the Master Grade 2.0, a favorite of mine. One of the earlier kits I built because of how much I love the Mark II. This is, one earlier in my Gundam journey where I had fully panel lined, decaled. In fact, I think it came with the dry transfer and I bought water slides, something like that. I could be wrong on that, or maybe some of the dry transfer is still on there. But then I also top coated it when I was done. I really like the proportions on this, the way it looks. There's just something about it that give it a unique look. It's interesting how much in general, even between Veranime, even between real grade, that they are very similar. There's always like minor little details, I think, when it comes to the Mark II design in general, because I think it just works. So if you were to pick a favorite, what would it be? And the question is, do I have too much? Do I have too few? I'd love to get the perfect grade. I'll probably do that soon. And then I don't know if there's any other action figure variant out there. I don't even think there's a Gundam Universe Mark II yet. I don't even think there's a Gundam Universe Zeta yet. They haven't even really gone down that line yet, which is very interesting. Maybe we'll start seeing that now as the Robot Spirits are coming out. What isn't it, like the 40th? Or is it the 40th for Zeta coming up? And so maybe there's going to be some more Zeta releases like that. I tried to start a rumor of a Zeta trilogy dub. Come on, let's make it happen. So anyway, that was just a quick look at the Veranime Robot Spirits Mark II. I'd already seen all the functions from, the previous video that I had done, and I thought it'd just be fun to compare it to all the other Mark IIs I have, because it's like one of my favorite mobile suits I have. I think I might even have more than an RX-78 II. I don't know if that's true, actually. That might need to be another video, but anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for all the supporters that make this possible. Check the links in the description if that's something you're into. Also, check the link for our Discord. We have a lot of fun there. But until next time, be cool.